Anyhow, let's kick it off. Mike, do you want to go over your little list first, and then
Yeah.
I can take it from there?
Yes. All right. So, welcome back, everybody. This is the July 2026 AMA. We are going to run through the normal stuff. I'm going to give a quick update on some things you might have seen on the site. This is generally for the people who watch it on YouTube afterwards, and they don't maybe watch the change logs very often on Discord or the site. So, real quick note, we've made a ton of improvements to the map. I'm just going to list out a few just that are kind of cool. We've got airports now. You'll see a lot of airports on the map. The question that I think a lot of people have asked is, oh, does this mean they're now low altitude coverage sites? No. When you zoom out on the map and you see a large airport icon, those are the low altitude reward covered sites. The ones when you have to zoom in really close and they have a very small airport icon, those are just so we can ensure that people can see where the airports are. And you'll also see now runways on those airports throughout the globe. And it even has like runway numbers. So really cool to be able to see that kind of stuff. Additionally, when you click on the airports, it will show the departures and arrivals times and some more details. Really cool stuff. If you want to just look around and see how busy an airport is, you can click on one and see how many flights are coming in and out. Some of the major ones, it's almost overwhelming the amount of traffic that is coming in and departing, at least within a short time period. So we made some improvements to mobile as well. So it's a little bit easier to use the map. Doesn't take up as much space. I leave it to the listener to go check those out. The flight comparisons are on the map now. You may or may not have noticed if you can click on one plane and then hold down the control button like you would if you're multi-selecting something in a document or some other sheet. And when you control click or command click on a Mac, for those Mac users, and click on another plane, it'll show them both highlighted while dimming all the other aircraft and show their paths. And there's detail panels for each on the side. And you can just click a bunch of planes if you really wanted to. Then you can clear paths or close them all. It's a good comparison thing. I found it really cool to use for multiple planes coming into an airport for landing, because you kind of see them and how they line up over time and curve into a single line for landing. I thought it was pretty cool to look at. One little minor glitch, but I find it super helpful. Most of you probably already know you can share the flight that you're looking at. There's a link over there on the right-hand panel when you're viewing the details. And previously, it would go to that flight when you shared it with someone else on socials or email or whatever. It would go to the flight, but it wouldn't zoom in all the time. That now correctly works. So it's a little bit easier, especially in a busy part of the day, busy area. You can actually find the plane that someone linked you. So beyond that, there were some major rendering changes for the map layers. Should make it feel a little bit more, I don't know if you want to call it fluid, a little more. Let's put it this way. Beforehand, occasionally you would have some flashing of planes. You would have some weird glitchy stuff. All the bottlenecks that were causing that have been removed. So as you move around the map, as you kind of drag stuff around, it is just smoother and you don't have stuff popping in and out in the same fashion that it was before. There is one thing that's coming, and I just want to, apparently not a lot of you guys use the light mode for our site. We actually talked about, should we just remove the light mode if people aren't noticing or using it? The reason we were talking about that is because for those of you that are using it, we realize there are some issues with readability of text on light mode for the map and some of the details. So we will be fixing that soon. I just wanted to throw that out there that it is on the horizon. So if any of you were frustrated about the light mode, meanwhile, use dark mode, but we're getting to you. And the reason we talked about removing light mode is because no one's reported it, which is the craziest part. Like there's just some literally unreadable areas on the map when you use light mode, like for the plane details and technical details. So maybe just nobody's using it. I'm going to leave it at that. We'll have more change logs, as I mentioned, coming this week that will call out some other UI and front end stuff. And I'll let Robin take it from here.
Perfect. I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you. Yeah, but with the light mode, does anyone actually use light mode? I get so annoyed if a website is so bright in the evening and I'm like, everything I'm using is dark mode. And then I go on a website and it's like, brights right in my eyes. Like, I wish everything was dark mode.
It's
Light mode
jarring.
should just go away.
So jarring.
Yeah.
Like I alt tab over and then it's a light thing, or I'm working on dual monitors and I have a light mode sight on my right hand side while I'm looking at my left monitor. It feels like somebody's shining a flashlight in my face.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the worst. But anyway, yeah, we'll fix that. But so yeah, we obviously last stage I think was about a month ago, or just about, or a month and a couple of days. So before the last stage, we had just launched the AI product on Product Hunt. That went pretty well. And now we actually have some really interesting large customers piloting the product. So we've actually improved it a lot because in the beginning, it's still in beta, but in the beginning, there was just a lot of stuff failing. So now in the AI product, the routines work really well. The chat works really well. It can find a lot more complex things. Way more advanced in terms of GPS jamming, odd flight patterns, finding, like, for example, if you want to track harder to track aircraft, like VIP type aircraft is much better now at finding them, identifying them. Because like with the customers that are piloting it now, they, some of them have really large fleets of airplanes that they need to, cross compare 600 planes at once and see which ones were maybe stuck at an airport for longer than they should have, which ones maybe flew in a sanctioned area, which ones have perhaps if they lease a plane, are they subleasing it to someone else without them knowing? So it's getting a lot better. So if you haven't tested it, I would definitely test it again. With everything that we saw failing so far has all been fixed. So what we really would love is just more people finding stuff that doesn't work so we can make it work. But a lot more intelligence in it now. What we're also working on inside the AI product is potentially allowing a user to essentially, if you look for a specific flight or a few flights, the tool can actually create data visualization, kind of like a video for you, highlighting where the planes have been, if there was squawk alerts, like the altitude. It makes a really nice visualization of it. Same thing for GPS jamming. We're also almost done with the MCP. So Alex is finishing that up. So we're gonna release that shortly. So if anyone wants to, query our data through Claude or through, ChatGPT or some other different AI tools, that's gonna be really handy. We see that's probably where the industry is gonna go. A lot of these big organizations are gonna try to build their internal AI solutions, and they need to query different data sources. And we think ours is one good one to have in there. Mike mentioned the flight map upgrades. For the flight map upgrades, right now we're actually started doing a lot more feature work and just trying to improve the map and the front-facing side of things. I know in the past people have submitted a lot of, suggestions, and a lot of times they didn't get done because we had so much to do on the data side and whatnot. Now that's changing, so suggestions for improvements would be really appreciated. We'll definitely start implementing more and more of them. We've done a lot of just hardening on the data pipelines. We had an issue last week where the rewards partially failed for like a day or two. That's been fixed. The core issue is also being fixed now, but it's up and running. But we're hardening that one as well. We've set up way more alerts to identify it earlier. So hopefully, if it happens again, it'll be a much shorter time. We are also working on the GPS jamming product as a whole to just make it more advanced, because we do see an increase in interest for that type of data and insights. We're also working on seeing if we can utilize, because like when we get the GPS jamming data, it's derived from the quality indicator in the ADSB data we collect. But we're trying to see now if we can also collect the GPS jamming indicators from station level to get both layers. That will be really interesting. Also in the AI tool, we do have a fleet management tool in there now, where you can upload a whole fleet of planes if you want to track them like by query, or if you want to set a routine and get continuous updates for them. And then let's see what I have. Sorry, my cat was playing with the toy. It was very distracting. Right. Yeah, we are internally working on a flight delay product, which is pretty cool. It's proceeding fairly well. It's not done yet, but that could be something really, really exciting. And then a lot of this other stuff is internal, but we've set up what's really cool, like maybe that's not visible outwards, and why we're going to be able to now actually focus on a lot more feature and map improvements and so on, is because we've automated a whole lot of stuff internally. So we actually have increased our output quite a bit. And then we also have we're setting up a new kind of alert system for squawks, for emergency alerts and stuff like that in the data, which is pretty cool. So yeah, and then I have a whole list of just internal stuff that we've done. But with that being said, I would love for feedback. I know there's still questions on the mobile application. We're still not there yet. We did push some improvements for the AI tool for mobile view last week. So I do think it's much better now. It was terrible before. So the first focus will be to essentially make the web app good enough on mobile where you could essentially save it to your home screen on your phone and use it kind of like an application, mobile application. But it'll probably be a little while before we come out with a full-on mobile app, simply because we don't really know exactly what we would put in it. And we're still somewhat limited on bandwidth, so that will be hard to do. Outside of the technical stuff, last month we started our buybacks. So we did buybacks in May and June. And obviously July is going to continue. So the buybacks are started. I posted all the stuff in Discord. So that's progressing nicely. I think I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of stuff, but I'm going to open up for all kinds of questions. I'm sure I missed something. So feel free to fire away. I'm sure I'll remember some more updates here in a bit. Let's see. I'm going to go up and see if I didn't miss anything. Yeah, so A and B on the phone app, I would not say soon. Definitely, I would be surprised if it's this year. Probably not.
Yeah, it's really a question of what value does adding an app add versus the friction that is caused by
Mm.
having to produce an app and go through the process each time of getting it uploaded and improved and everything. So I
Yeah.
guess if we can come up with a really good reason to have an app, um, then we would.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's not, I mean, I would love to have it. I mean, I prefer to use a native mobile application over a website on my phone any day of the week. It's just, um, they have to be.
Oh, Robin, you cut out. Maybe he disconnected.
Collaboration with
Oh,
GeoNet. Oh, did I miss something, Mike?
you phased out for about 10 seconds or so. You disappeared.
Oh, I assume I'm back now.
You are back.
Okay, cool. So Matti asked if we can leverage the GeoNet collaboration for GPS jamming, and I do think so. Since they have the RTK capabilities, at least on the dual miners. We have an RTK chip for proof of location, the other ones. So we are looking if we can utilize that to get essentially the interference on a ground level or station level. And then if we combine that with obviously the GPS jamming indicators we get from the data, that could be interesting. So we are looking at that. Let's see, MediaTek. Are you aware of Jack Hidary? I am not, but I will take a look at it. Yeah, I mean, the GPS jamming stuff is super interesting because now, like, we can get such granular data. Also, I added a GPS jamming dashboard to the Wingbits .ai website. So it has dashboards that highlights GPS jamming levels for different areas, regions, for different hours. So you can get it really up to near real time. So that's quite interesting. And now, obviously, with everything going on in the world, it's more and more interesting for more and more customers that want to monitor it. Hey, Fachos, nice to see you. Keep in connection. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're. It's been exciting to start that finally, and hopefully it gets better and better. Let's see, Andreas. Oh, nice, perfect. Yeah, and then Andreas, again on the feedback stuff, please let us know on mobile what doesn't work. Can you not see certain things? Because I mean, when we read it a little bit now on the AI tool for the mobile view, it's just like some stuff we should just not show at all on mobile view. It just needs to be gone. So we need to adjust it further. So please provide any feedback of things that are annoying.
As a quick note,
Yeah, go ahead.
so I mentioned earlier the fireworks and everything and being on a parking garage. One of the interesting notes was there were, in the previous year, I'd seen helicopters that I guess people chartered to fly around and watch the fireworks from the sky. But this most recent 4th, a few days ago, I noticed two small planes, like Cessna Piper sized planes, that were circling around the site that we were at, closest to for the fireworks display. And one issue I have with an app, so I don't really use other network apps very often. It's interesting to see what they're doing and to see how their maps look and the features that they offer. But apparently I had not used it in a while. And so in a hurry, I'm like, well, let me just click a button and see what these planes are that are circling around us overhead. Kind of loud and annoying also because they were very low. And I got stuck in that weird situation of like my app's out of date and I've got to update it, and it's not a quick solution to just like see what the plane above me is, or the two planes in that case. So stuff like that I can see being handy. Even opening a website and then going to the map and everything. Honestly, it would have taken me less time. I just gave up on both. I just put my phone back in my pocket and moved on with my life. But things like that are moments where you think like, oh, if I had something that opened up really fast and was really straightforward to like, what is this plane right directly that I'm listening to above me or circling around me? That would be interesting. Or a helicopter. Occasionally you hear a helicopter due to a nearby traffic accident, or maybe they're, I don't know, manhunt or whatever's going on. Those are situations where you have that immediacy for an app would be cool to be able to just click a button and have it start on the screen that shows you what's going on. But those are like very specific apps that are for one kind of purpose. I don't know if that would be something eventually, but it is definitely something I am keen on. Maybe in the future, having something that does something like that. Anyway.
Because for me, I would rather just like open up the AI tool and give it my location and ask what's going on above me, and it'll just tell me rather than me trying to figure it out by looking at the map.
I mean, I guess it's different ways for people ingesting different data, and depending on their time constraints and what they're really trying to do. I don't know. I think there's a multitude of options. What you don't want is that moment where you're like, well, how do I find it? And you don't have a quick answer at that moment. Because at that moment, like I said, I gave up because I'm like, this app needs to be updated. This one's whatever you call it, where Apple throws it in the cloud because you don't use it in forever. So I'd have to re-download it anyway. And usually when that happens, I don't know what happens, but it downloads and then it says, oh, you need an update. So I don't know why I end up downloading an old version of the whatever app it is. So at that moment, I just kind of gave up. But 100%, I'd love to see some good solutions. Maybe we can talk about it and come up with some suggestions for the community, and then come up with some for us on how something like these kind of items would be covered. I see you, Maddie. It's exactly what you were saying. You just want to know what one plane is above you or whatever, just because you hear it.
Fair enough. But so back to Maddie, because that was the question I was on, I think. Yeah. He's asking if we're in touch with airports. So not a whole lot, mainly because we like the data we provide in general, airports do use it, but they don't use it for any like critical decision making. So the airports are generally quite difficult to work with because it's a lot of certifications and it's very, very slow. And they're also not a big consumer or customer of ours. So we don't do it a whole lot. Mainly what we focus on is essentially companies that work within aviation. It could be, you know, insurance, or it could be just different type of analytics, or financial industry, or it could be engine manufacturers that want to track the utilization of an engine and so on. So we don't do it a whole lot. But it's not that we don't want to do it. It's just that where we are, it would be better to do that later on when we're more mature. And also, because I saw the next question from Deep in Connection, a part of that asks if we can address, you know, the whole market, or how much of the market we can address with the current coverage. And we're still not at the global coverage. We still need coverage in like really all of Africa, but no one else has that. But we do need it because it would be good to have. Middle East a little bit more, and then definitely a little bit more in Southeast Asia. And then you have, you know, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, Uzbekistan, and those countries would be valuable to have. So we definitely have some more coverage we need to get. So we're working on that. But we can address I'd say a quite large portion of the market from like data sales with the coverage we have. But we are not yet at the level of coverage where we could be like an exclusivity provider for someone that needs full global data. And some big clients need that. It's not that many. But really where we're really good on the data is for use cases that require lower latency, because our latency is really, really good. It's our P99 latency is under 1 second. So definitely by far the best out of the networks. We also are way more flexible in terms of what type of integrations or what type of granularity in terms of coverage we can provide. Price-wise, we are definitely more competitive than the big networks. And then we also provide a whole lot better service. But what's interesting about the model, the network model, is that because we have a different model than the other networks, it does give us a little bit of a more ability to deploy where we need. If we see that, okay, we really need coverage in a specific region, it's easier for us to get coverage there than, for example, a traditional network, because there's no incentive attached. So it's harder for them to do that kind of on demand. But I can continue on Deep Connections question. So the majority of our revenue now is from data sales, mainly selling live data stream to different type of clients. Some want all the data, some want regional data. They want different type of like sampling and so on. But where we see the biggest revenue growth opportunities is definitely on the applications we're now building on top of the data, because we do see that it's going to be more and more sought after. The onboarding is way quicker. Customers really like it. You don't have to involve large engineering and data teams. So it's a lot lower risk for the customer to test it out. And I do think it provides value that other players currently cannot provide. So yeah. See if I'm missing anything. On the missing plane yesterday, I mean, we saw it in the data. We posted something yesterday. I've actually been so busy today, I haven't read up on if they found anything more on it, so I actually don't know. But I think we caught it down to maybe 1,000 feet altitude, and then since it was over the ocean, we didn't have coverage below that. So I'm not really sure. But maybe someone else has read about it in the chat. I don't know. Let's see. App. Another one from Deep in Connection. So with more coverage, for example, there's obviously a few aircraft manufacturers. Some of them want to buy from just one provider. There's other customers too, analytics providers and all that. Some of them just want to buy from one and have an exclusivity contract. Those will need us to have full global coverage. But then, the same type of customer, but a different company, maybe they buy from multiple data sources, and then they really like buying from us because we have a different network, different quality data, different stations. We cover some areas better even than the bigger networks, even though we don't have more coverage overall. So when they buy our data and they combine all the data streams they buy, we do add a lot of value and granularity to their data. So it's just the exclusivity, global data provider contracts that we cannot go after currently. Let's see, I'm reading. Yeah, so regarding their current systems, I mean, most airports have, from my understanding, have really, really outdated systems. But the issue, is that they cannot look at our data or flight radar's data or FlightAware's data or AirNav or whatever. They cannot take that data and make decisions based on the data. So you have to have a specific certification. And none of the regular networks have that. So it's kind of hard. Mainly where we could add value to an airport, it's more that, let's say I'm an airport controller. I only use my systems, which is my radar, and that only covers so much, about 30 minutes from the airport. So if something happens outside of that, where there's a lot of diversions or planes divert. I could actually find out much quicker if I had someone like us providing them with notifications if that happens. But that is exactly why, like for an airport, the routines in the AI product makes a lot of sense, because they don't really need to sit and look at a screen all day to try to see what happens. But if you set a routine that can essentially just notify you if there are a specific event taking place, like more than 10% of all airplanes coming into this airport are now diverting away from the regular flight path, and they get notification, that's super helpful, because then they can be a little bit more proactive instead of just waiting to hear it at the last minute and then have to be super reactive and try to figure it out. So I do agree, airports could be really good. It's just very difficult and time consuming, so that's why we're currently focusing a little bit elsewhere. Deep in connection. So our latency, so 99% of our data is under 1 second latency. From what we've seen from the other networks, they tend to range like 5 or 6 seconds at best. So, for some use cases, that doesn't matter at all. If you just want analysis on the last 24 hours worth of data, then it doesn't matter that the latency is poor. But for example, if you are flying a drone and you're flying that drone beyond line of sight, well, you need to know if any other object is coming in where you're flying. For example, if a helicopter or something, some other low altitude aircraft is flying in and you're flying the drone, you need to know as close to real time as possible that, okay, there's something coming, the drone needs to essentially watch out. Well, 1 second is a lot better and safer than 6 seconds, because 6 seconds is just a long time when you fly fast. So some use cases, it makes a lot of sense. Also, we have a customer doing turbulence monitoring or detection with our data. And, detecting turbulence, it's very helpful if it's real time. If there's a plane behind, the faster you can figure out that there's severe turbulence, the better. So it matters there quite a bit. But yeah, it's mainly in regards to detecting stuff where the latency matters a lot. So now, when we started, we thought drones would be a little bit further along by now than they are. And also we thought advanced air mobility would be slightly further along, because those are the segments where we think we actually are really good compared to what's out there. But those segments are still not really mature. But we're in a good position for when they do mature. Let's see. So, some customers that we made public are, like we have Korean Airlines, we have Spire Global, SKAI, I think we made public. Yeah, they do GPS jamming stuff mainly. Skypath, we publicized, I think. But then we have a defense company that's testing the data, so that's quite interesting for just monitoring. We have a couple of drone companies. We have some small airlines. We have and one aircraft manufacturer that we passed the pilot. It was really good, and now we're in what's called like a tender process. We're finalizing the commercials, so that's really good. We have some airplane lessors that monitor the fleets. We have insurance, and then some customers come in every now and then and buy like historical data, but it's not very common. So, like for example, like the financial industry, like hedge funds and stuff, they tend to buy some historical data just for M&A forecasting. But usually, what they do is to buy a big batch of data and then they're done for a while. They just want to look at a specific thing. Yeah, so those are some of the customers and some of the types. Really, we're obviously wanting to go into way more segments, but one thing that I think really underestimated when we started, because we're not from aviation, is even though aviation is one big industry, it really more is like one industry consisting of hundreds of sub segments that all have their own very niche use cases and problems, and there's a lot of edge cases. So it's kind of hard. It's really hard to build one product that kind of service the entire industry. So right now we're starting to find more and more of these subcategories that we can specialize on. Let's see. WX SUA pilot. Any plans to reactivate BYOD? Not at the moment. The only reason we would probably do that is for specific regions where if we can't ship devices there, or it's just way too expensive for people in those areas to buy it. Obviously, we're gonna aim to get the prices down in general on the devices. But we don't have a plan to do it right now. Matti, how far is Wingbits with the tracking of drones? So we obviously track the big drones that because they transmit on just 1090. I think the US is going to do more and more of the larger drones on 978 because remote ID just seems like a terrible idea. So we may do some 978 in the US market. We're going to do a little bit of testing to capture drones there. I know most countries have not decided on the frequency. But UK, they regulated 978 megahertz for drones. So if we do the 978 megahertz for US, we will probably also do that for UK at the same time. And then for other markets, I don't know yet. They haven't really come out with their, they haven't decided, essentially. And regarding the new hardware, it's like everything is just taking longer than we would like. We're supposed to get an answer hopefully tomorrow or the next day. So I'll come back on that. I also want to get it out. We've been doing a lot of testing. So, I want to do a final test as well because I don't want to send out a bunch of hardware and then we miss something because there's just so many little things that can happen or you miss. It's like you didn't test it for this type of temperature or this type of humidity or this amount of, static electricity in the air if there's storms and stuff. Fachos on MLAT, we actually are running MLAT, not on the public map, but in-house. So that will, we are collecting MLAT right now. We're working on essentially optimizing it. So that will be hopefully soon visible on the public map as well.
Yeah, and there's some follow-up questions for this further down, but I just want to clarify. So having MLAT client is kind of specific for one reason. Like you want to see MLAT derived aircraft on your local, say, TAR 1090. Obviously, if everybody's contributing data to a centralized server, that centralized server can handle MLAT on its own. It can derive all the positions of flights that previously were unable to be reported. So it's kind of it's a one-way bonus back to the contributor so that they can see those flights that they previously were not seeing. So it's really a question of whether we set up that kind of architecture or that infrastructure. And I don't think it's on the horizon currently. It would require work just for people to see stuff on TAR 1090. Obviously, we would have to have something that receives it on BYOD and on approved hardware such as HiFix. I don't know that we're headed in that direction right this moment. Maybe as things mature and we have more time available, that's something we could do, but that's more of a nice to have. It's just good that we are collecting the data now, as Robin said, and evaluating it.
Really appreciate it. deep in connection. It's very nice of you. Thank you. Let's see. So the reason for new hardware is I think this is twofold. One, we think the existing hardware is a little too expensive, and two, it's not, I think, a really good position to be reliant on just one in case something happens. And actually, there's a third reason. Some of our customers that we started working with, they are requiring us to diversify, to have more options. From their point of view, it's safer for them if we don't rely on only one. So there's like a few different reasons, but it came up from a customer requirement first, and then we thought, okay, well, let's try to make it cheaper as well, better for everybody. Not in terms of functions, because like the existing ones, the functions that we added in is essentially they're upgradable. So if we're gonna do 978 or something else, then there's gonna be a little upgrade kit that you put in the slot that's not utilized. So for the next one, it's gonna be the same. Maybe we'll try to add on and one more slot if we can, but outside of that, not at the moment. There may be, in the future, if again, I do think it's because we don't really know like what all is gonna take place in the future. Oh my God, what happened here? Sorry, computer just. Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Uh,
You got robot-y for a split second, but otherwise okay. Switching Wi-Fi connections or something?
Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
My whole screen just like went turned off. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I don't know where I was. But we don't. It's so hard to guess what features or functionality we should add on the hardware now. And most likely, if we just decide based on a hunch, it's going to be wrong. So I'd rather just get it from the customer first, and then we can add it on after we know we're going to get monetize it.
Yeah, if we had just like shoved out 978 cards with everything, and 978 dongles were promoted for BYOD in the past, and everybody deployed and got the antenna, and everybody was, and then we just said, yeah, we're not really monetizing that, and there's no real value in it, and you're not really earning any rewards off of it. I mean, I think people would be unhappy that they spent all that extra money up front. This way we kind of wait and see as the whole thing matures, what do we need, and then target that. It makes far more sense. Like what if what if a whole group of countries decide 868? I know they wouldn't, but they want 868 as their frequency for, say, drones or something. Then we would have to be very specific. Like certain countries are using 978, some are using 868. You could tailor that as opposed to everybody having one, and then you're like, well, that 978 you got is useless. I guess you could, remove it and not do anything with it ever.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see where we are. Fachos, are you saying? Can you clarify your question a little bit? Are you asking if other providers will block Wingbits, or if you run another provider, we will block? Just clarify, please. I understand it. On WX pilot, I understand, and that's kind of like one of the things I was talking about. Like if that shows to be like just a complete blocker, then maybe that the better option is to open up a little bit for the BYODs and just have the dongles in specific regions. But we want to limit that because we do see from a customer feedback point of view that it is a lot of value in having the uniform, become more locked and secure devices. So we want to limit it more from a commercialization point of view as much as we can.
By the way, we're down to
Okay.
about 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, good point. Let's see, here's the chat. Lose my chat.
I know, Andreas, you've got a question. I will. Yes. I mean, we have to figure out first how we're going to leverage MLAT and to what extent and how that affects stuff. It does lean into would it require a change to the rewards model? Like if 4 people are working together to create the position of this plane, do the 4 people count? Do they get partial because it's MLAT? I don't know. We don't have the answer for that yet. We will come back when we are sure how or if it would affect rewards. For Facho's question on MLAT as well. So again, an MLAT IP import from Wingbits is not needed. If you do try another provider to feed you MLAT back into your TAR 1090, I have no idea how or if that would affect your contributions to Wingbits. It should not, in theory. If you're running like on a BYOD, maybe 120's tried it. He's, I think, set up his own MLAT server as well, locally. So realistically, the client is just something that sends data from the aggregator network back to you on into that client. It's not affecting you sending data to an aggregating service such as Wingbits. But we can discuss that probably more in like a general chat or setup discussion or something like that.
Perfect. Let's see. Yes, gotcha. Answer is no, but we should. That's actually a pretty good idea. I'm gonna save this on my log. I'm not gonna make you write it in a suggestion ticket. I'm just gonna save it here myself. Thank you. I mean, 120. If I feel like with everything, you always think it's gonna be done at a certain time, and it's never that time. But from what we've been told, is after we get this final kind of like information that we need, then we're supposed to get some final samples. That shouldn't take too long from that approval date until it be done. Initially, they said about, because obviously it's designed everything that. So from manufacturing point of view, they said about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. But I feel like they always overpromise and underdeliver a little bit. So 6 weeks is probably more like 10 weeks on a good day. But that's all I know. Like I would not bet any money on or make a promise on it because it's just hardware manufacturing doesn't seem like easiest and most streamlined thing ever. We have a leaderboard. Yeah, so we actually thought about doing leaderboards way back, and then we thought like there needs to be multiple different ways, or I guess multiple different measurements for how you're good. Because let's say if it's just the number of planes, then you're really the main decision or point is where are you located? Are you by a busy airport or not? Then another thing could be, how much coverage do you have? Well, then you could also be limited. What if you live in a valley and, it's kind of hard for you to put a pole up that's higher than a mountain? But then it could be also online, like online time, like who has been online for the longest uninterrupted period. So it would be good to have a leaderboard. I think we just need to have multiple different metrics that we measure on. So there's something for everybody to be able to compete on. That's just my thought. But yeah, it would be fun to have a leaderboard. I can play around with it. See. But I know, Mike, we talked about that a long time, or we talked about it a lot. We just never really figured out how to how to squish it in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. It 100%. I think it's great to have like this overall contribution leaderboard just for bragging rights. But to Robin's point, realistically, those are probably going to be the same people you would see up there. You might as well just take a screenshot and leave that, because it's not going to change very often. If you just look at contributions as a raw number, you're going to probably have the same like 20 stations in the top 20 for most of all time. So I think you do have to come up with such what you're saying, H&K, like a regional country area, or possibly some other fun stuff. I mean, we've talked in the past about unique flights, because realize like sometimes when you see a plane, you're seeing that same plane later in the day because it's basically doing like shuttle work between two cities. So it'd be interesting to say like number of unique planes, or maybe like even getting into the realm of, I'm not trying to gamify this too much, but in the realm of like almost collections of like, can you collect, one of each of these different airlines in a day? Can you collect one of each of these unique aircraft over time? Like what was that thing? The thing that looks like a dolphin, whale, whatever plane, and it rarely ever flies
Oh
anymore.
yeah, yeah,
Gosh, tip of my
yeah. I
tongue.
don't,
But if that thing was like part of a list, and these were unique planes that you could capture, beluga, thanks guys, that would be kind of cool, because I mean, you never know when it's going to happen. But in theory, there's some very unique planes that fly around the US that I see only for like certain celebrations or certain events, but they take flight, and throughout that period of a day or two when they're flying, there's a lot of stations that would capture it. It'd be kind of cool to have these little collections or something over time, just to say, I captured it. It was above me. It'd be more cool if you knew it was coming based on our network and maybe the AI product, to be able to say, hey, it is headed towards you, and it should be there within 30 minutes over your head. Or as plane watchers would see, like it's going to be within a reasonable driving range, because there are people that will go look and see these crazy planes. Or if it's landing at an airport nearby, if it's a smaller airport, it's kind of cool to just go see something that nobody else gets to see, an aircraft that no one gets to view except some unique people.
yeah, exactly. Now, so well, but I have really good, some really good input. Oh, and the last thing, Mike, me and Mike actually were chatting the other day, and we wanted to kind of see like if people would be interested in, because we still have a bunch of the NFTs that we released to the station owners, still have quite a bit left. Obviously, they're all unique. We may release for station owners some more in maybe like a month or so. And I know last time, I think there was people that had already claimed tokens, and then they didn't have the 747 tokens for the NFT. So if you're interested in getting some of those NFTs as a station owner, would hold on to maybe at least 747 tokens if we release another little batch. So that was just another thought. I don't know. Some people don't care about NFTs. I usually don't care about NFTs, but I did spend all my unclaimed tokens on my NFTs because it was quite fun. So yeah, so I just want to bring that up so people have a little bit of a heads up if they do want one, if they didn't get one last time.
Yeah, and we'd make a proper announcement ahead of time. So I guess this is kind of, what do the kids call it? Alpha. This would be alpha for you guys, that you have unique information right now that nobody else has, is that this is something that we're looking at doing, and it would be just another amount. Previously it was 747 of them available for 747 unclaimed rewards. And then we ran out of that 747 units like super fast. So rather than just sit them in the wayside, it looks like there's a good chunk of people that are never going to claim them. I I guess we may make them available. So keep an eye out. Save up if you want some unclaimed, if you're interested. And I guess we're 1 minute over.
Yeah, just so MediaTek, we already did it. It was just a fun thing, We're not gonna sell NFTs, but essentially we just made this like little Wingnouts collection for all station owners. So if you have a station, you could just claim them for some unclaimed. You could claim some for free, I think. Was that right, Mike?
One per station. So if you have 3 stations, you can claim 3 NFTs.
Yeah. And then if you wanted more, then you had to spend 747 unclaimed rewards. So MediaTek is too late now for that first batch.
No,
because they all.
Not if he didn't claim his original. I mean, for the extra free ones, the extra redeemable ones that you could burn your rewards for, those are all gone. But the one free per station still exists. So you can go to Wingnauts on the top menu of the Wingbits site when you log in and go through the process, and you can mint one for each station that you run under that account. You'll be one of the last people, obviously. It's been very slow going since the first few weeks. So.
Yeah. Very nice. All right. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to hop off, but I really appreciate everyone, all great questions, suggestions. Really nice that everyone's listening in. So feel free to send more suggestions. And I'm going to take a look at the 2 I wrote down, but I know there's a lot more good ones. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.